Some friendships are born on the basketball court, shaped by shared childhood dreams and sealed with promises too strong to break. At least that's what Michael Jordan always believed, until the night he saw a man rummaging through a dumpster behind an old pizza shop. That man wasn't just any stranger. He was someone who, years ago, had been the better player between them. The one who taught Michael some of his earliest moves. The friend who believed in him before anyone else did. But now that friend was homeless, broken, and hiding a secret so devastating it could shatter not only their friendship, but everything Michael thought he knew about his own past. This story is about loyalty, redemption, and the toughest question of all. What matters more, justice or mercy? Where are you watching from? Share your country in the comments below, and if you love powerful stories like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Timeless Stories, where we bring you the stories that touch hearts and change lives. Michael Jordan's luxury car glided through the streets of his childhood neighborhood. Though decades had passed since those days of penny candy and rusty hoops, the place still felt like home. He passed the old corner store, now a shiny convenience mart, and the weathered basketball court where his first dreams took shape. The sun was setting, throwing warm colors across the sky, when something near a back alley caught his attention. A man in tattered clothes stood hunched over a dumpster, sifting through garbage. Michael almost drove past, another soul down on their luck. But something about the way the man shifted his weight, like a player ready to cut toward the hoop, made Michael's breath catch. "No way," Michael whispered, pulling to the curb. The man's face was hidden under a grimy baseball cap, but the stance, the rhythm, it was too familiar to ignore. "Ethan," Michael said, the name of his childhood best friend slipping out without thought. The man's head snapped up, and in that brief instant, Michael saw recognition and panic. Ethan turned and ran. Michael slammed his car door and took off after him. "Ethan, wait!" The chase led through narrow alleys, past rows of overflowing trash cans. Michael was older now, but the determination that made him a legend hadn't faded. Finally, Ethan collapsed on a cracked sidewalk, his body too weak to keep running. Michael knelt beside him, stunned at the changes time and hardship had carved into his friend's face. Once full of mischief and confidence, Ethan's eyes were now shadowed with exhaustion and fear. "Let me help you," Michael said softly. Ethan's body trembled, not just from the cold, but from the weight of years spent running from something far worse than poverty. They ended up at a diner, a place where two kids had once spent hours plotting their rise to the NBA. The bell above the door chimed just as it had back then, and the smell of burgers and fries filled the air. They slid into the corner booth, the same one they used to claim as their own. Michael ordered a burger and, without thinking, added a chocolate shake with 2 straws. The memories hit both of them at once. 2 wide-eyed kids with scraped knees, sharing milkshakes and laughing at dreams so big they barely fit in their imaginations. Ethan's hands shook as he picked up the menu, eyes flicking to the door, every muscle ready to bolt. "You taught me that fake-out move, remember?" Michael said, hoping the memory might bring him back, even just for a second. "The fake left, drive right," Ethan said with a faint smile. "I called it the special." But the smile faded quickly, replaced by the familiar weight Michael had seen in too many men who'd lost too much. Over burgers and fries, Ethan's story began to spill out. Fragments at first, then whole pieces. When he was 19, Ethan's parents died in a car crash. That was the story everyone knew. But the truth was far worse. "I was driving," Ethan said, his voice hoarse with guilt. "Drunk after a party. I thought I was fine. I wasn't." Michael sat frozen, trying to reconcile the boy he'd known with the man sitting across from him. "The police covered it up," Ethan continued. "Small-town hero, big future in basketball. They pinned it on some unnamed drunk driver." Ethan's knuckles were white against the table. "But I knew, and I couldn't live with it." So Ethan disappeared. From basketball, from life. Michael offered Ethan a bed at his house, but Ethan refused. "1 meal," he said. "That's all I can take." Reluctantly, Michael settled for getting him a hotel room. As Ethan shuffled toward the elevator, shoulders slumped under invisible weight, Michael saw the scar running down his friend's cheek. One more unanswered question. That night, unable to sleep, Michael got a second key to Ethan's room and found him sitting in the dark, still fully dressed, eyes locked on the window. "You were going to run again," Michael said. Ethan didn't deny it. Over the next few days, Michael's security team tracked Ethan's movements. They found him at shelters, under bridges, and outside a pizza shop where he stopped fights over leftover slices. On the third day, Michael found Ethan teaching math to a group of homeless kids under a bridge. Scrap cardboard for desks, stolen moments of normalcy amidst chaos. Even at his lowest, Ethan was still teaching, still giving what little he had. When Ethan collapsed from fever, Michael took him to a private hospital. Pneumonia, malnutrition, but also a tumor. A misdiagnosed one. It wasn't cancer. "You can recover," Michael told him. But Ethan's secrets weren't done. There was one more accident, years ago, a hit and run that killed Michael's cousin. Ethan had been high, driving when he shouldn't have. "I wanted to confess," Ethan said, "but I saw you at the funeral, talking about how James spent his life helping kids. I thought, maybe I could do that too." Michael's heart ached under the weight of betrayal and compassion. Michael had Ethan's confession in hand. Everything needed to turn him in. But under that bridge, surrounded by kids who now had hope because of Ethan, Michael saw the truth. Justice wasn't always found in prison cells. Sometimes it was in the quiet, stubborn acts of redemption. Michael tore the confession into pieces. "James believed in second chances," Michael said. "So do I." Ethan's recovery wasn't just physical. With Michael's support, he moved into a small apartment at a youth center where troubled kids could always find their professor. Months later, Ethan stood in front of his first official class, teaching math and life. On the wall, two photos hung side by side, one of James and one of two young boys practicing a fake pass. Sometimes the most profound acts of justice don't happen inside a courtroom. They aren't captured in headlines or delivered through a judge's gavel. Instead, they live quietly in the hearts of those brave enough to offer second chances, to see beyond a person's mistakes and into their potential. True justice is found in forgiveness, in the willingness to walk beside someone as they confront their darkest moments, and in the strength it takes to believe that no life is beyond redemption. If you were in Michael's shoes, standing at that crossroads between punishment and mercy, what would you have done? Would you have held on to the past, or would you have chosen to rewrite the future? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let us know where you're watching from. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Timeless Stories, where we bring you real and inspired stories that remind us all of the power of compassion, the beauty of redemption, and the extraordinary hope found in forgiveness. Because sometimes the people who fall in the hardest, the ones burdened by regret and haunted by their choices, are the very souls who have the most wisdom, kindness, and love to give the world. Their stories aren't over. They're just waiting for someone to believe in their next chapter.